It becomes a comedy routine because I'm gonna tell you, this was about 2007, I think it was. It was my uncle's 75th birthday party, and I was going to it. And I remember getting on the subway here in Washington, and at the end of my subway trip, my family was waiting for me to take me to. We were all going to drive together to this birthday party. And I got off the train, and there they were. It was my sister was driving. My father was in the passenger seat in the front. My mother and my cousin were in the back seat. So I got in next to my mother. And we probably weren't even on the road maybe 10 minutes. And I reached into my bag and pulled out a whole bottle of wine. I had little sippy cups. I invited anybody that they want to drink with me. And I'm just drinking wine on the way to the thing. Didn't even think twice about it. And my sister, who was driving, she said, do you think you have an alcohol problem? And I could hear a little nervous giggle. I don't know who it was. I think it might have been my mother. You know how you get that little giggle? Somebody, they don't want to laugh, but they just let out this expression. And you can tell that the question has unnerved them. And I did exactly what we were talking about. I went into my little comedy routine. I was like, well, I don't know, but just in case, keep the number to the Betty Ford Clinic on your speed dial. And everybody started laughing. So I went into that little comedy routine. People, Dwayne and Anthony, and when you look for it, you'll see it. People have a little comedy routine. Many people have a little comedy routine that they'll employ right in front of you when you hit a sensitive spot. And I'm going to tell you, because that's what I did that day, too. I laughed with everybody, but you know how introspective I am, Dwayne. I thought about it. She did hit a nerve, and I thought about what she said. I kept drinking for 4 more years, but I did think about what she was saying. And I grew up in a family where I saw people drinking regularly. It was almost as if there were people in the family where the glass was an extension of their hand. Alcohol was always a part, like many families, of every celebration that we had. You knew the people in the family who drank the most. It was part of the cheer. It was part of having fun together. It was always there. And you knew the people who because we talked about this last week, every family, I believe, and you all can talk to me if you think otherwise, but every family has silent agreements. And it's what you just talked about, Dwayne. We all know it's happening, but we silently agree not to talk about it. All right? So, all right, okay? There were people in the family who we knew were the heavy drinkers, and to this day are the heaviest drinkers in the family, and I was one of them in my adult life. And we all just don't really talk about it. We pray about it. We address it in our own private moments, and maybe every now and then we bring it up, but we don't really talk about it. But I thought about what she said that day. And I'll take you back to September 28th, 2010, last year, when I was sitting in Chipotle here in Bethesda, where I live, and having the best hard shell vegetarian taco I have ever had in my life. If y'all have not been to Chipotle, please do yourself a favor. It is delicious. And so I'm sitting there having my vegetarian taco, had a Corona, and enjoying every single drop and every single bit of that taco. 30 days before then, so this was September 28th, on August 28th, I had started working out regularly, every day, getting up, walking and running. So I had that taco that day, had that Corona, woke up on August 29th, and felt like I had a bag of sand. It was only had one beer, but I felt like I had a bag of sand in my stomach. I just felt heavy. I just didn't feel right. My body just didn't feel the same way that it normally does. And I was walking that morning on August 29th, and I said, you know what? I'm committed to this workout. I'm going to stop drinking for a minute. And that Corona was the last drink of alcohol that I have had, and that's been a year. September 28th will be a year. And anybody who knows me who's listening to this, it's like probably if they didn't believe in Jesus before, they probably believe in him now if they heard that I'm not drinking, because that is the miracle. All right? That is the miracle. Anybody who knows me knows that is a miracle, because I was that guy, Anthony. I was that guy who had the 3 or 4 martini lunches with you, talking TV business. I was that guy. I was the guy who, we talked about this last week, who got the train from Washington to go to Philadelphia many times, Dwayne, on business. And it's 7 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'm drinking Bloody Marys all the way up there. I'm the guy, or was the guy, who when you came to my house and you opened up my refrigerator, there was always a big bottle of vodka in the freezer. Always. Along with some other bottles of stuff. Always. I'm the guy who, when you walk past my apartment in the evening, you would hear, I'm shaking martinis all the time, every night. I'm that guy who would come home from work in my suit with my briefcase and stop by the Italian delicatessen right next to my house and get me a bottle of wine every night. And usually would finish it an hour or two later. For years, I was that guy. So to not have had a drink in a year is pretty amazing. I'm kind of surprised myself. What I'm most surprised by is that I don't even miss it. Like I'm not even tempted. I haven't even been tempted to drink. And just to test myself, the last holiday season.
It's amazing.
The last holiday season, I was making all these. This is a process. This is alcoholism, is what I'm sharing with y'all. I decided to, and I don't even bake that much, but I was baking all these things. I pulled out all my recipes that required alcohol: rum raisin, rum bread pudding, fruit cake. I mean, anything that I could find where it said add alcohol, I just start baking. And I'm like, if I can't drink it, I'm pouring it into something. And I did that for a while. So all last season, I was giving people rum raisin bread pudding, rum raisin rice pudding, all this stuff, just trying to get it in my system some kind of way. And then even that got tired. So I was like, you know what, Robert, just let it go, baby. Let it go. Let it go. And I let it go. You can use a lot of things to avoid yourself. You can use a lot of things. Some people use work. I've done that. Workaholics. Some people use food. Many people use food. That's probably the most widely used thing. And sex. Sex might actually be the most widely thing, but you can get food is more accessible than sex is. So I would put food first and then sex probably second. Okay? Now, but many people use sex, particularly men, use sex as a way of working out their issues, a way to avoid themselves. Many people do that. Food, sex, drugs, alcohol we're talking about this morning, church, it could be put in that list, as you said. There are a lot of things that people can use to fill up their time and attention so that they're not really paying attention to themselves. They're avoiding themselves, because to me, drugs and alcohol abuse, all it's about, drugs are always about avoidance. You're avoiding something. You're avoiding your feelings. You're avoiding your own authenticity. You're avoiding your own character, your own demons, your own dreams. You're avoiding something. And so you want to anesthetize yourself from a reality that you're very uncomfortable with. And you choose one of these things to do that with. That's what it all boils down to me. That pain that you're trying to cover over and anesthetize yourself from. Because one of the most difficult things, we touched on this last week too, to do, really for anybody, I think, is to just sit there with your feelings. I mean, which is what I do now that I don't drink, or drug. I have to sit there when I get a feeling that I'm not happy with, or there's a reality that shows itself to me that I'm not happy with. I have to sit there and feel it. And I never really had to do that before. For 20 years, I would just cover it over. I would drink over it, or smoke over it, or eat over it, or lust over it. So it took me away from that space. But to just sit there and feel it is very, very hard sometimes. I think there are a lot of people that are listening right now, and I know you are, not because I can see some of the people that are listening, and I'm thinking of one person in particular who you have a problem with alcohol. You know it. And many people who drink socially know it. And it's easy to tell yourself, I drink socially because I'm just going out with my friends, and I like wine with my meal. And I think there are many people that can do that just fine, who can go out and have a glass of wine with their meal and enjoy the flavors with their meal. And that's fine. I think you can have a healthy relationship with alcohol. So I'm not coming from a place of alcohol is morally bad for you. You need to stay away from it at any cost because I'm a Christian. I don't endorse drinking. That's not where I'm coming from today. I'll leave that for others who feel that and will want to share that with you. And I respect that, but that's not where I'm coming from. I'm coming from a place of a personal experience where I had an unhealthy relationship with alcohol. You can have unhealthy relationships in your life. For those of you who can't relate to alcohol, think about people in your life. There can be toxic people in your life who in fact love you and who you in fact love. Talk to me, Dwayne. But it's an unhealthy relationship. And drugs and alcohol will cost you your life if you're not careful. So it's not something that because I don't drink anymore, I don't have to think about it. You know, all the reasons why I drank, loneliness being at the top of that list, all those reasons are still present. So you always have to check yourself and stay on that path, because at any moment, I think the enemy uses those weak things and the things that you said that you've overcome. That's what the enemy uses to get you sometimes. And especially when you make public pronouncements like I'm doing today. I don't drink anymore. It's been a year. I'm telling you, new levels, new devils. They will come after you then. Oh, okay. So you're telling everybody you don't drink no more? Okay. You know, the universe is going to find a way. God, evil, is going to find a way to make you stand up for the things that you say you believe in. Somebody knows what I'm talking about out there.